Here's an example of area. I'm using graph paper so that you can see the little squares. Area's unit of measurement is always squared. So each square represents one unit within the area. And area is another way of describing the surface of a figure or object. I often like to think of the rug covers the area of the floor. And so when you're looking for the measurement of the area, if the rug is covering the floor completely, the dimension of the rug would be the area. And we often refer to rugs as area rugs. So if you were to count up the squares within this rectangle, we would find the area. Let's go ahead and do that. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 4 parts going down here from top to bottom. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And notice that there's 9 in each row. So these are my rows. I've got 4 rows, and I've got 9 columns. So 4 rows, and I could outline them. And then I have 9 columns. I'll go ahead and darken them so you can see. So area is basically asking you how many squares or square units do you have within the figure. And if we were to count these up, I know that's 9. 9 plus 9 is 18. Plus 9 more is 27. Plus 9 more is 36. I would have 36 square units. And you would write it like that. Or you could put SQ units. Whatever the unit of measurement is. In this case, it's just a unit. We could have inches, feet, yards, miles, meters, anything really. Now, in this situation, we just counted up the squares, and that's certainly one way to do it. But a shorter way is to multiply 4 times 9. 4 times 9 is going to be 36 units squared. Let's go ahead and do another one. I'm going to draw a rectangle. And I want to see if you can figure it out. Let me zoom in for you. Oops, the other way. So figure out how many rows you have, or I have, and how many columns. Looks like we have 3 columns, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 rows. So to figure out the area of this rectangle, we would multiply 15 times 3, and that would give us 45 units squared. If I wanted to count them up, I can count by 15s. I could go by columns if I wanted, or I could go by rows. I could count by 3s, or I can count by 15s. If I counted by 15s, I'd go 15, 30, 45. If I went by threes, I could go 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30, 33, 33, 36, 39, 42, 45. Again, you would get the same number. That's what area is all about. You're multiplying the length and the width to get the total square units of that area. Sometimes we have figures that don't look like rectangles. You might have a combined figure in which you have multiple shapes. Let's look at one. Now this is not a rectangle or a square. It does have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. So, we could say it's a hexagon, but it doesn't really look like a regular hexagon. Let's go ahead and count up our rows and our columns for each side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this one is 8. I've got 11 here. And 11 here. 5, 3, and 6. So 8, 11, 11. So if I were to go down 11, 5, 3, and 6. How do you figure out the area of this type of problem? Well, one way is to just count up all the squares. You could make a grid like I did in that first problem, or if you were just carefully looked at this visual aid here, you could count up all of the pieces. That is one way to do it. It's not really the most efficient way, and so I'm going to share with you 2 ways you could do this problem. We're going to go ahead and break up this figure into 2 rectangles. Now we could do it one of 2 ways, and we'll talk about both ways. Let's say that we were to take from this point, cut off or make a border right here. So instead we now have this rectangle as one unit or one area, and then we have this smaller rectangle as another area. Once we find the area of both parts, we could add them, and then our total would be our total area. So in this problem, we have 8 rows and 11 columns. So 8 times 11 is 88 square units, and 3 times 5 is 15 units squared. Now, like I said, we can add them together. 8 plus 5, and then we've got 103 units squared. So that is definitely one way that we could do it. What if we didn't break it up here, though? Let's ignore that line and let's break it up in this way. So instead of using the 8 and the 11, we're going to use this 6 and this 8. So we'll have 8 times 6, because we're going to be looking at this rectangle here. And then the second rectangle will use the 5 and the 11. So we're not going to look at this line here. So 8 times 6 is 48 units squared. 5 times 11 is 55 units squared. If we add those two together, 8 times 5 is 13. 4 and 1 is 5, plus 5 is 10. We get the same answer, as we should. And that's how you find the area of a combined figure.